in the last game, you know, Dead Nation Focus Me dominated their region, and then Splice were able to take the win over them. Here, we've seen Unicorns of Love just beat Clutch, but Mammoth are dominant in the OPL. Will this be the year where the OPL really rises up and starts to challenge for those play-in knockout stages? We are into picks and bans. Mammoth on the blue, Unicorns of Love on the red. Kiana banned, Pantheon banned. Nothing too surprising as of yet.
Yeah, the only thing that's a little surprising to me is the amount of blue side Kiana bans we're seeing. Usually if there's a pick you always need to ban, red side ends up being held with that burden, which is what we're seeing with Pantheon. And yeah, you're checking your notes because the Kale ban comes out for Mammoth. I can talk to this a little bit. Okay. It is something that has been played an increasing amount by some of the pros in solo queue. The fact that Kale now gets range at level 6 means it's much more viable. I think we will see it at Worlds. Didn't expect to see it as a blue side ban, but there you have it.
Yeah, not something we've seen from Unicorns of Love during the regular season, but as you say, those changes came after 9-16, so that's perhaps why it has been banned out here. The Morgana removed, Rakan and Vladimir taken away. Instantly, the Syndra that we have seen banned in our first 2 games gets locked in.
Yeah, time to flex it as well. It's not like King is foreign to playing non-marksman in the bottom lane, has played 4 Sona games, and some are also a Swain, so very possible we get to see that Syndra bot lane.
Let's see if that was what the most decorated player in the OPL wants. 5 championships under his name. It's King. With the Renekton being locked in here. Expect that to go up towards boss in the top lanes. Played that 5 times this split. 3 and 2 on it across the course of the regular season.
Yeah, and Unicorns going to be riding so much confidence after that decisive win over Clutch, where they actually defeated the mid lane Renekton and the jungle Echo, but willing to just throw down the power picks and run it back.
Usually it's if you can't beat them, join them, but here it's if you beat them, then join them. And
take them and do it yourself.
We'll see how effective an analyst can be on that jungle Echo. We heard from the analyst that's just how strong he was in game 1, how much impact he had with some of those invades, and Echo, of course, a very elusive champion when you try and catch onto him. Will be pretty effective at getting out of some of those fights. And now Mammoth hovering over the gangplank. Fudge is a player that, as we've said, is only 17 years old, very young, but has had a huge impact since he joined this team on picks like the gangplank top.
Yeah, I do wonder if they're just going to follow the Renekton around the map with that GP. I'm not completely opposed to that possibly going mid lane, just with how much flex picks we've seen, but yeah, Mammoth definitely switching it up a little bit. And a Skarner for them as well, which is not too uncommon for Babip.
Now, 3 games on it, 3 wins for Babip out of that jungle role, and likes those champions where you can farm up and then have some impact around that level 6 mark.
Do it.
They didn't do it. They didn't do it, Jack.
I want to see new Asol with an active W, so his stars come out and shoot really fast for a few seconds and then go away.
It's the tumble dryer, actually. Or the speed spin. The Kai'Sa will be locked in. They'll go down towards Inax in the bottom lane. Of course, that is his most played. It's usually more effective on sort of the off-meta AD carries, the off-meta bot laners like the Heimerdingers, like the Garen Yumis, rather than things like the Kai'Sa. But Unicorns here saying, well, we can remove some more of those AD picks.
Yeah, I mean, for a team that was so successful, 12-2 in the regular season and then the league champions, the fact that he's 2-4 on Kai'Sa, not the best sign. I actually have some concerns about this pick if we do see Syndra bottom lane, because there's a relatively amount of short range on Kai'Sa, and you could get a lot of kill pressure with the Syndra, but maybe just respecting the power of the pick, wanting to ban out opponent AD carries, it almost seems like they're not expecting this Syndra to go bot whatsoever. It's possible that Syndra could be mid lane, but most of the Syndra I've seen has actually been bot leading up to this.
King historically is an AD bot lane player. He plays marksman. That's what he has always done. Has like 1 Swain game and I think 1 Sona game this split.
4 Sona games,
sorry. So yeah, maybe he will go towards the Syndra. But we will see. It's an all-purple bottom lane as the Alistar gets locked in for Edward. He likes those champions where he can go in, where he can be the primary engage for the team. And now Mammoth we expect their support and their mid laner left to pick. Or wherever the gangplank
you can flex it. That's the nice thing about picking Syndra early. Again, Ashe is another pick I've been talking about a lot. Trist can also go in the solo lane. Unicorns of Love know all about that, and they're just cycling through everything to confuse us. Don't talk about hovers.
Yeah, Nautilus is locked in here for Mammoth. They will be taking that down towards the support role. We expect could of course go mid. We saw a little bit of Nautilus mid with AP, and the Tristana is the next hover that you've told me not to talk about, but I'm going to talk about it anyway. As you say, could be in a solo lane, could be mid Tristana here, so still a lot of flexibility on the side of Mammoth.
I mean, I think it will be. I think it will be mid Tristana or top Tristana. I think it's a flexible solo lane pick, and we know that it's good against Renekton in the absence of jungle intervention, which we actually got to see Nomanz beat up on Damonte with that pick.
We did. Unicorns of Love here looking towards their mid lane, you have to expect. Nomanz has a wealth of options left open. The Corki is his most played this split, but saying that he's played it 4 times and everything else he's played 3 or 2, so he's got a huge champion pool. With the Corki locked in though, we can see the compositions finally taking their fully rounded setups. Anything surprising here for you?
I'm a little surprised that Nomanz is still on Corki despite the fairly substantial nerfs he saw on 916. And I will be surprised if that Syndra doesn't end up going bottom lane, because I think it would be a very good matchup against the Kai'Sa, but they have 5 more seconds to swap it if they so choose.
Right now it seems like it is going mid. We have seen Syndra into Corki before. Okay. Expect the Corki, if they're feeling pressure, to get an early Hex Drinker. That tends to be the way of things. It does delay the Triforce a little bit. It means that Nomanz doesn't hit his earlier power spike as he usually would, but you can be pretty safe into that matchup on the side of the Corki.
Yeah, first Syndra game for triple in summer, but the overall balance spread of the team is totally fine. I do like the Gangplank into the Renekton, not from a sense that it will dominate, but because I think it is actually a decent laning pick against Renekton and can stop some of the free gank setup Renekton has, since he gets the oranges from whenever he decides to put a skill point in W.
Yeah. It's actually really interesting to just see like how many picks these teams are choosing that they haven't played in the regular season, although we haven't seen them play. Of course, meta's shifted over the last 3 patches, but Fudge hasn't played Gangplank. We haven't seen Triple play the Syndra in summer, as you said. King hasn't played the Tristana in summer. Destiny, he is on the Nautilus. Well, that is, you know, he's played it a couple of times, but they are lesser known picks for these teams, and it's surprising a little bit to see you come into Worlds and play something that perhaps you haven't played consistently across the split.
Yeah, and I think what a lot of them are doing, as I think now that we're basically 10 years into competitive League of Legends, is teams are getting better at actually being flexible, and I think they're trying to put more thought into the overall team composition rather than just, yeah, I'm a really good X player and I'm going to play that way.
That makes sense. I think the age of just being good at one champion to be able to be competitive on it is kind of fallen by the wayside, especially you know, with 5 bans coming in quite a long time ago. It made a lot more difficult for you. But let's talk about kind of the expectations early on for these 2 teams. Usually we see Skarner's farm up, and there's a lot of farming tools on the side of Mammoth. Unicorns of Love have the Echo jungle, could look for some of those invades. Is there anything you think we need to keep our eyes on in the first 5 to 10 minutes of this game, Jat? Yeah,
I want to see if Ananasek decides to try and steal any camps from Skarner early on in the game. Skarner's one of the fastest early clear junglers, and generally will end up doing a Predator gank pre-6, but for the most part, we'll do a full clear. If UOL has any type of guess of where he started, knowing how aggressively we saw invades from the UOL jungler in game 1, we could see something for that, and I want to track it.
Yeah, well, make sure our eyes are on the Echo, who started down towards his blue buff. Red buff start for Babbitt on the side of Mammoth, who, as we've said, did really dominate the end of the OPL. 3-0 against Order, 3-0 against the Chiefs, who were a few people's picks to make it to the world stage. And after being, you know, they've had their ups and downs. They've been consistently okay, but then they really exploded onto the scene in summer and started to dominate. Was it Direwolves we saw at MSI? I believe it was.
I believe you're right.
I'm going to check my notes quickly, but I can't because I can't min-max my screen properly.
I mean, this is Mammoth's opportunity to throw the group into total chaos.
Yeah.
Because if they win this, that means they'd be 1-0, UOL will be 1-1, and Clutch, the Pool 1 seed, would end up being 0-1. That would be that would be the spiciest thing to see.
The dankest timeline, I believe, is what most people say there, Jad. But yes, I think It was Bombers, it wasn't Direwolves that we saw at MS.
Oh, shoot.
Just to correct myself. Yeah, I think it would be a real upset. As we said, like, yes, of course, your first game matters. Yes, of course, the first round robin matters a lot. But it's consistency that we want to see from these teams if they're going to challenge to go into those knockout stages, into their groups afterwards. And every team in this group has had claim on a group stage spot in the past if they haven't made it. You know, OPL is probably the region that has struggled the most to make it towards playing knockouts and really challenge, but we've seen teams like Albus Nox Luna make it all the way to quarterfinals at Worlds in the past from the CIS region. We've seen NA teams, Cloud9 specifically last year, make it all the way to semifinals after going through the play-ins. So every region represented here has a big of a challenge, and we'll see if they can make it. Fudge wants it, as you say, but Boss able to flash away, and here comes Ananasik.
Bad timing.
Oh, Fudge. Oh, Fudge indeed. He's dead. And Ananasik will flash away from the tower, and first blood goes to the Unicorns of Blood.
That is exactly what Ananasik wants. I mean, Fudge, I like the Moxie, trying to go for it on GP. Thought he had enough damage, but when you trade your flash forward and burn so much of your health and have no idea where the enemy jungler is, you do set yourself up for that type of play. In terms of his actual lane, right now it's actually not as impacted as you think it would be because Renekton didn't get the kill. The kill did go to the jungler, and he can teleport right back. But now we're going to see if Echo can take over the game. Watching this again, he's just trying to... He thought he had more minions on Boss as well, but really just miscalculates the damage. And then, as you can see, shield comes in for Ananasik. Gets the kill.
Didn't need to go and steal camps. Instead, could just steal a kill underneath the Mammoth top lane tower. Boss going to come over here and make sure that that Scuttlecrab goes over to the Unicorns of Love. They have a slight gold lead, 200, 300 thereabouts, and now Triple maybe pushed a little bit too far forward because Ananasik, no flash on him, does have the Stalker's Blade, now can land the smite going forward. Boss coming in from the side as well. Triple's going to have to flash away, but the stun still connects, and the chase is on. The knockback with the Scatter of the Weak, tanking the tower is Ananasik, but Triple escapes in the mid lane.
Making sure to click that potion before the rest of the gank comes in. Does end up burning his flash and allow Nomans to push that lane out, but very close to trying to break that one open. And what ends up happening is Boss was using his TP advantage to try and make that play happen. Now he expends it.
Boss playing with the Ninja Tabi up towards that top lane as well. Knows that Fudge does have the harass potential with the parlay. Gangplank just very easy to point and click on towards your opponent. So Boss says, well, I'll get an early Ninja Tabi to try and mitigate some of that damage. A lot of this early game now is going to be defined by how Ananasik goes through the jungle where he's looking to gank.
Yeah, Ananasik is a different style in this game as well. He's not the one who's been hard farming. He's been ganking as much as possible early, converting one of them. And if we actually look at the gold, it is 2,050 on the Echo and 1,950 on Babip. So
100 gold lead.
Really not that much of a lead despite being able to pick up that first blood.
Of course, part of that is because Babbitt has been farming up. He has Predator on this Skarner. Expect a level 6 gank relatively soon. At the moment, he's going to go get his Gromp, the only camp that is available to him. One of only 2 camps available on the entire map. But now with top lane flash being down, with mid lane flash being down, Mammoth have to be a little bit safer. And you can see Ananasik is positioning up towards top side, understanding maybe that Fudge could overextend here.
You know, Skarner's still not quite level 6. And a massive wave crashing into the turret. So it's correct for Skarner to be here to cover Fudge, but it's definitely not correct for Fudge to try and make an aggressive play at this point, and just making sure he doesn't get duped.
I think Fudge has shown us that he's pretty willing to make an aggressive play if he wants to. Didn't need to, as you say. Oh, a little bit of a knockback there from Edward, but Destiny can just push
Edward might be in trouble. Might have to flash.
There's the dredge line. Edward might have to flash, as you say. The Ignite coming in. There's the flash away. Destiny had to burn a flash of his own, and Inax trades back on the Kai'Sa. But once again, it's Edward just being too far forward, too aggressive in some of these plays.
Yeah, completely agree. That was very close to being a kill. However, Mammoth end up burning more summoner spells in that overall engagement. So that's one of those things where if you judge the result, it was fine, but if you think about the process, it was definitely not worth it.
I'm a big fan of results-based analysis. I think I've learned from Twitter that that is the best way to evaluate a situation.
I mean, you're always right.
Yeah.
If you use results as your main
metric.
dictator of success.
So early on, let's have a look at some of the results of this laning phase. A bit of a CS lead for Triple in the mid lane, about 10 farm ahead. Bot lane is in King's favor as well. And across the board, you know, Mammoth have been able to mitigate some of the gold deficit they would have from the first kill by just having more CS than their opponents. The 7-minute mark, we've yet to see BABIP have his first effective gank, but at the moment it looks like he's hiding in this bottom lane bush alongside Destiny.
Yeah. If they can get a gank off before Edward gets his Alistar ultimate, it's basically a free kill. But that is also why UOL is sitting back at their turret in that bottom lane.
Yeah, playing very defensively there. The double pickaxe from Kai'Sa trying to get towards that Acathian Rain. Upgrade, evolution as quickly as possible. And the thing about Mammoth here is they're saying, oh, okay, we can't get the kill, that's fine, we'll just go for Dragon Pressure. We know we have 3 players on this side of the map, it's very easy for us to push towards this first objective.
I mean, thinking about just the way the lanes are playing out, they're winning mid lane with the Syndra against Noman's Corki as he's trying to scale up. They're actually definitely winning bot lane. They have the shove on Inax basically the whole time. But it's this top lane that's going to be pushed in that UOL is trying to capitalize on. Echo very good at turret diving once he's 6.
Teleport coming in. Fudge still has the flash. Boss trying to put the damage down with the Dominus. And Anasik going forward.
Careful for the ult!
Chrono break back, but Fudge was just at the edge of it. And now Anasik will pay with his life. Triple gets the kill. Coming in with a TP.
Big outplay by Fudge right there. You could see the Echo shadow just daring him to take it. And it's a crisp sidestep right at the edge by Fudge, right at the end by Fudge's Gangplank, which also allows Triple to pick up that kill and narrowly pull Mammoth ahead in the gold.
Good TP call there from Triple to join the fight. They knew something was going to happen. Mammoth had been playing all down towards the bottom side of the map, as we said, taking the Drake, looking for the gank bot. And Unicorns of Love were not going to give it up without a fight, but here we go. We'll see this once again. You have to just look at how close Fudge was to getting caught by this Chrono Break.
Yep, so he makes sure he doesn't get caught by the first W. Also, UOL, I think, a little slow on that dive. You'd like to get the shield on Echo at first. And you saw how close that was on the Chrono Break to actually getting the kill. You got to watch out for it. And I think this now kind of asks a bigger question of what does UOL do? Because they're getting pushed in mid, they're getting pushed in bot. The lane they're supposed to play around was that top side because Fudge burned his flash early and gave over kill. But now that that gank has failed, it's actually Mammoth who's able to make the next play. They have flash ult on Skarner. And if they pull that off, they could take the first turret and start having an advantage.
It's been a long time since these two regions faced up against each other. It's IWCQ, the International Wildcard Qualifier in 2016, where Albus Nox took the win. Here, Mammoth trying to turn things in favor of the OPL, of the Oceanic region, who has definitely been the little brother of the two across the course of the years. Here, Unicorns of Love have tried to react to Mammoth pushing in this top lane by bringing up 3 players of their own, and Anasik was on a ward, now is on a control, and Mammoth should be aware that there is a jungler just waiting around the corner.
Yeah, doesn't decide to use Predator early, really just getting control from maybe a Rift Herald fight. I also find it funny. Clutch was the team that always just rotated everyone up to Rift Herald at 10 minutes. It's like Mammoth and UOL are in the Clutch group. So they say, you know what? Everyone play for Rift Herald around 10 minutes. Let's do the lane swap. We got to make sure that our bot lane is there in case there's a Rift Herald fight.
And like the logic behind it is very sound. If the dragon is down, there's nothing to fight over in the bottom side of the map.
It's true.
Rift Herald's up here. If you have more players there, you're more likely to get it. So you might as well increase the numbers you have on the top side of the map, play for it, and then look to try and take plates with the Rift Herald afterwards. Unicorns of Love, realizing that Mammoth had started it up, will just clear them out from the river for the moment, and it's all square once again in the river. Basically nothing between these two teams early on, 11 minutes in. It's been pretty even. Key carries we have to look at as the game does develop. How close is Fudge towards getting, 2-3 items on this Gangplank? How far scaled into the game is he? Because Boss will fall off on the Renekton. He can still have impact in fights, but he's not going to be doing as much damage as someone like the Gangplank.
Yeah, and I also want to see how Inax performs in middle late game team fights on a highly demanding carry. We saw on Heimerdinger against Clutch, he was effective, but it was really a disaster early on in the lane. They were just able to kind of hold on. So that will be a test later in the game.
You can see Boss trying to assert his dominance in the bottom lane, but Fudge is having none of it, just clears him out with a parlay, forces him back. Meanwhile, Ananasik is on his way. And
keep trying to dive him. Let's see if this one works.
Unicorns of Love have had the same strategy over and over again, but look at how much damage Boss takes.
I mean, he just cleared the minion wave, and now has time to back off, you would think, unless... Oh. No, he's going to stand his ground.
Yeah, he stands his ground. Fudge is having none of this. He's not going to bow down under the Unicorns of Love charge, and Boss and Ananasik just both limp away back towards their tower. Yeah, Fudge, considering he's 17 years old, first time on an international stage, he's
Yeah, especially when he kind of opts into getting first blood with how aggressive he went early to not tilt after that moment. I do think that it is actually UOL who is pressing too much on these Gangplank dives. They're not in sync. They're not crashing with the minion wave. I mean, the way you want this dive to work is either the Echo, generally the Echo would actually go first, pick up the shield from his parallel convergence, then he gets turret aggro. At a certain point, you're going to force the Gangplank W. Then you would stun on Renekton, Echo would ult back out, and it's like a clean dive. But they've never been able to sync it up with the correct minion wave or even the correct W placement. So not the best synergy between Boss and Ananasik.
And Fudge now has his Trinity Force on that Gangplank, so it's going to be even harder to take him down without him returning the favor onto either Boss or Ananasik. Top lane is the place that most of Mammoths are playing, not really being able to crack this Rift Herald as of yet, but you can see Babip's here, Triple's here, everyone from Mammoth is really focused up towards that top side, and I wonder what Boss is going to do. He looks like he's going down towards the bottom lane once again, but it feels like the Unicorns of Love want to up the tempo just a tad, and Mammoth are very willing and content just to lay back, because they do have very good scaling in the form of the Syndra and the Tristana.
Yeah, and even after UOL beat Clutch in game 1, Edward tweeted about, hey, we normally play a lot faster on stage, gonna look to fix that for our next game and get back to our aggressive tendencies, but the opportunities haven't really been there, even though they're trying to force stuff, as Mammoth is playing quite defensively, especially around the GP, and just setting up and not taking too many risks.
Do you feel like the Unicorns of Love need to force stuff? Are they on a clock, on a timer? Because they do have some good scaling options, and Corki and Kai'Sa work well in mid-late game teamfights.
I think it definitely depends on the execution. I don't think there is a hard lose if they hit a certain point, just because they have Kai'Sa Corki, right? But then the other team has GP and Tristana, so it's a bit of a wash in my opinion.
Oh, Destiny did have to flash away just a moment ago. Here comes the Valkyrie. Edward flashing forward, triple cord out, can't get away. The suppression comes down, but that's not going to be enough from Babin. He's going to have to run back towards the tower. Fudge has teleported in as well. He's in the midst of 5 now with the cannon barrage coming down. King jumping forward, trying to get to Inax, who flashes the wall. King flashes after him though. Will take him down now. King needs to jump back across. Boston and Anasik on the chase, and Unicorns have won the fight. They destroy Mammoth in the river.
And it actually ends up being a 2-for-2, all things considered.
Two for two?
Yeah, because Babip walked away. I think it was 1 kill to 1.
I thought Babip went down.
That fight was a mess, though. So absolutely possible for that to happen. But UOL wins the fight in the sense they have map tempo. But once again, Mammoth doesn't want this to stop. Triple's back. He could go for it.
And Anasik does have the ultimate here. Boss going to look to slice and dice across the wall, but the Scatter of the Weak hits onto an Anasik. He has to jump back. No man's in there. Boss off towards the side already, and Anasik has fallen. The Rift Herald so low. Babip here has the smite. Should be able to secure this pretty easily. We have crested the 14-minute mark, so those turret plates aren't the target, but the Rift Herald will be taken. Mammoth with about a 400 gold lead coming out of the back of all that.
Whew. This game has yet to break open, even though it's possible. And the way that fight kind of developed, it kind of had shades of a lot of previous OS Worlds appearances where things are looking good and then they're just completely disorganized when the fight actually happens, because Triple gets caught out by the package and then with no flash is caught, and then you're wondering, okay, Skarner, this is going to be one of those things where it's one after the other. You look at Fudge, he teleports in, his team's not there at all. But right there, King finds the pick onto Inax's Kai'Sa, executes him, and is able to get out. And that just distracts the rest of UOL so much that also allows them to take down Edwards. So even though it felt like UOL had a way better initiation, they don't get the result. They end up losing the war, so to speak, because when they went back to the Rift Herald, they lost their jungler and the Herald.
Yeah, a chaotic fight. Confused me, to say the least. Never mind the players in the game. Babbitt's here is going to get the second dragon of the game. It's an Ocean going across towards Mammoth. And they can see how they do these next steps, because they've got the Rift Herald now. They can crack one of these towers open. Yet to have a turret fall in this game, coming up towards the 17-minute mark. But now you have Infinity Edge finished on King. You've got Ludens on Triple, and Unicorns of Love are in an okay position in terms of itemization, but you haven't got a fully sacked Manamuna. You haven't got the second item completed on Inax yet. No Man's does have his Trinity Force, but it looks like Mammoth are looking for a play towards him up to down
He's
towards
flashless.
the lane. Flashless. Babbitt Yeah, just yanks him right back into the Unleashed power. The Dredge line hits as well.
Ooh.
Babbitt almost falls, but Mammoth will take the kill. And I expect Babbitt to use the Rift Herald down towards this bottom lane as well. Charge that one up and charge towards the tower.
Yeah, Babbitt misplayed that because he was about a half second early and got turret arrow when he didn't have to. Nearly cost him the kill, but he ends up getting away with that one. So good crash there by Mammoth to be able to take down the first turret of the game with that Rift Herald and end up picking kill. They'll get a charge onto this one at least, but likely won't be able to stick around for the turret team.
Yeah, I think a Nanosix should be able to get across here in time, as you say. Triple just backing away. Doesn't want to risk getting caught out, even though they have okay vision in the blue side jungle of the Unicorns of Love. The Rift Herald will put quite a lot of damage down and
real close.
Almost.
Are they gonna get
it might go down. That's 2 towers for the Unicorn, for Mammoth, sorry. And about 1,000 gold lead for them coming up towards that 20-minute mark. But you have to look at next steps now. Yes, you cracked open that bottom side of the map. How are Mammoth now going to use that? You're looking for picks with Babbitt. Predator running straight on towards the Unicorns of Love. If he can get there, if they can catch someone out, you then have a huge amount of follow-up damage onto that single target with the Unleashed power. So Mammoth will want that vision control. They'll want to try and catch one player from Unicorns out. And if they can't do that, Unicorns can continue to scale up with this Kai'Sa and Core.
Yeah, might see another Predator gank coming shortly from the Skarner if UOL ever tries to set up. And if you're comparing Mammoth's macro to a lot of world-class teams, that would be one place you could look and call it a bit of a weakness. So it's not a certainty that they can take a small lead and turn it into a big lead. Sometimes their side lane control is a little bit weak without being able to take advantage on the other side. You see here, it's like 3 people are down bottom lane, and Mammoth isn't getting any type of turret damage. But if they can get a kill here, maybe they'll turn something into it, and I think they have.
Yeah, I think that's pretty easy for them. But Babbitt isn't even going to burn his Impale. It's another kill for Mammoth up towards the top side. As you say, it is about what they get out of that, right? The wave is all the way pushed towards their tier 2. They're not going to be able to break open that tier 1 in the top lane. And looks like Edward here.
He wants something.
Hex Flash. Will he go in? Mammoth playing incredibly safe. Fudge on his way up. Here goes Edward in with a Hex Flash. Parallel conversions off towards the bottom side of this. But so far, Echo has done some work. Hasn't done as much. Perhaps you'd want No Man's. Gets hit with a depth charge. Babbitt gonna help King just put in a little bit of chip damage, and meanwhile Triple is able to get some time alone with that top lane tower. So the kill onto boss has actually paid off here for Mammoth.
Yeah, Triple is getting really big in this game as he's able to pick up solo turret gold. 8,800 gold, 1,200 more than No Man's. So tale of 2 games here. No Man's after dominating in game 1. Tristana versus Renekton here trying to play the Corki into Triple Syndra, and Triple kind of just roaming around on Syndra of all champs to pick up these kills and get a lead.
And this is what we tend to see from Mammoth. Triple is their key carry, tends to be ahead in lane, but they also put a lot of resources into him. He actually gets this 22.8% of his team's gold, which is the second for mid laners in the OPL, and 27% of the CS on the map between 15 and 30 minutes, which is, again, second for mid laners in the OPL. So they know that if they put resources into him, he tends to get them advantages and get some wins.
Yeah, and there's not a huge amount of stuff that UOL can use to close the distance onto Triple. It's, if anything, it would be a really good dive by Echo, but he's so far behind that he's been getting blown up if he tries to go in. So a pretty good position for Mammoth as they look to just put this group into chaos.
This group will be absolutely just all over the place if this happens. Remember, Unicorns of Love beat Clutch earlier. If Mammoth, the 3rd seed, then beat the 2nd seed, yes, Clutch, didn't have the best of performances, but you have to then wonder, how do Mammoth play into Clutch? How do we see when we get to the 2nd round robin who's going to beat who there as well? Because the top 2 teams do go through to the knockout stages. Now, Destiny looking for the engagement to Edward. Look at the damage coming out from the Scan of the Week. The jump in from Nanosix with a knockback with a Buster Shot, and now the re-engage coming out. Babbitt flashing forward, and that's a rampage for Triple. Valkyrie away from No Man's. He used the package to get the hell out of dodge, but Mammoth have already got their 1 kill, and they can push towards this mid lane tower.
All right, there's still a lot of ultimates up for UOL if Mammoth try to go too far because they burned all of their ultimates in that last fight. Edward might be going for something.
Hex Flash isn't going to go the way he wanted it to, and he's stunned up. He doesn't have the ult. Can't quite hit with the Dark Sphere there, and Fudge just forcing Unicorns back. That mid lane tower has been opened up. The Unicorn's going to get just a little bit of chip damage back on towards Mammoth, but for now, Mammoth will reset, regroup with a 3,000 gold lead. They are well in control of this game.
They got to be feeling pretty good with those 5 kills onto Syndra and how they're routinely dodging out of these Echo engages and really keeping Edward flashless and altless so the Alistair isn't able to go in for the reliable stuff, right? If Unicorns of Love had tempo, Edward would be able to dictate a lot of these things, but I feel like Mammoth is getting just enough to stop UOL from being aggressive, and then that's allowing them to wait on Skarner Flash and the Skarner ult to get the fights that they want.
It definitely is. Mammoth in such a strong position now. There's another Ocean Drake for them if they want it. It's not the most impactful, but you'll take it. You've got one in your back pocket. You've got a Mountain, helps you with that regen. And I want to bring attention to the amount of control wards that Mammoth are coming back onto the map with as well. They've got 2 in the inventory of Babbitt, Triple, and Destiny, and a spare on the side of King. Compare that to Unicorns of Love. They've only got 2 on their entire team. This gives Mammoth the opportunity to get total vision control around the Baron, around the Dragon if they want it. But, of course, you have to use those control wards well. So we'll see if they're able to do that in the next few minutes.
Yeah, and overall, I think they were wishing they were getting mountains, infernals, or clouds rather than oceans at this exact moment, just because there's not a huge amount of poke that comes out from UOL, and there's not a huge number of mana dependencies on Mammoth, so they're kind of just clearing the Ocean Drakes to try and get to the good ones. In 8 minutes, that infernal will be big, but if they get this shutdown, it's huge.
Lots of damage coming down, and that's the kill. Triple shutdown. No Man's will take it. Edward and No Man's in the right place at the right time.
We said they didn't have that many control wards, but they had the control ward where they needed to be over that wall.
That's where you got to be.
Big shutdown, and it also goes on a No Man's, one of the best scaling champs on their team.
We'll see how much that delays Mammoth, because that's the thing about this. Is not Unicorns won't be able to take too much out of this. You can steal away a blue buff, you can get a bit of chip damage on the tower, but really you're just stopping Mammoth from taking their next step and waiting for those 2-3 items complete. Already, Inex has got the Ginsus alongside the Manamune now, and you're building up towards a rapid fire cannon on the side of No Man's. When you get there, it makes it so much easier for them to get this extra chip damage, this extra little bit of poke down onto Mammoth before those fights really erupt.
Yeah, still absolutely anyone's game. It is interesting that only Inax has paid the Skarner tax with QSS, but we haven't necessarily seen Skarner be able to take over the game. So still some more forcing that you would want Mammoth to be able to do. But if we look at the map now, the control wards have been down and they've cleared out a lot of vision. So they're looking for picks around this Baron area, or they'd look to just take the Baron if UOL shows too many people in lane.
Boss down towards the bottom side, 2 people in mid here for the Unicorns of Love. Mammoth setting up for the fight. It has been 5 years since an OPL team beat a CIS team.
Wow.
The Gamescom in 2014, where Legacy took down the Dire Wolves. They lost to them in the end as well. They weren't even able to take them down across the series. They just got a single win against them. Mammoth trying to change fortunes that have been 5 years in the making here. Look at that vision control. This is what we talked about with the control wars. They have total awareness of the Unicorn's red side jungle. And now we'll see if they want to pull the trigger on the Baron buff.
Yeah, and there's actually no way for UOL to scout other than a Kai'Sa W right now, especially once Mammoth gets this mid priority. And then the Kai'Sa W is down. They could start it if they wanted to. It would be unlikely that UOL doesn't scout for a little bit, but yeah, they're going to try and catch UOL while they're scouting.
They are Mammoth on the front line. Babbitt's going to pull back Edward. Edward's not in the best of shape, still lands the knock-up. The Unbreakable Will's doing a lot of work, making him very tanky here, but Fudge flashes in. He's exhausted straight away. King takes down Edward, and there come the kills, rattling through one by one. And Anasik is down, and here goes Boss into the middle of the frame, but he will fall as well. It's a double kill, and King is not done. Almost take down No Man's, but the Hexdrinker shield is enough, and now Inex can turn it back around, and King overstayed. Too much greed from the bot lane up from Mammoth means that he will fall. It means that Mammoth cannot do the Baron. It means that Mammoth cannot close out the game yet, and Unicorns will be able to hold on to hope.
Baron was guaranteed if King stays alive there, but he was thinking about the ace and taking over the game. He's their damage for the Baron that they needed. Gets outplayed when he goes in for the flash rocket jump at the very end, and that is something that could potentially tilt Mammoth after making what could have been a game-altering play. So they had set up this vision medic for the last 5 minutes. It's all we've been talking about. They get so much damage on Edward. They make it so UOL can't engage on the fight. They kill Echo with the beautiful Cinder ultimate. And then, right here, it's actually 5v2 with double Ocean and Mountain if they just turn. But heals are still up on Inax. It keeps No Man's alive, so the execute doesn't kill him, so the rocket jump doesn't come back. and then Inax is able to kill him. They're going to reset this Baron vision and try for it again, but
They just go straight for it.
let's see if they get it.
So Boss is teleporting in. Unicorns of Love trying to make their final stand, trying to make the final play. No man's
Hoping
going
to get in
forward.
for steal.
Hoping for a steal. They don't get it. Mammoth secure it. The Oceanic representatives take the first Baron of the game. 23 minutes in. They have a 4,000 gold lead, and now it's 5. They group up mid. Babbitt going forward. Boss does have his own flash. Will get away. Babbitt decides not to chase. There is an Infernal Dragon in 30 seconds, and it looks like Mammoth are going to play through bot lane and go for that Infernal afterwards.
And King can exhale. He's
Yes.
like, all right,
It's like, whew.
I didn't throw the game. I didn't stop us from being able to win against the LCL for the first time in 5 years. Now the game is basically at the point of the one team fight into the Baron. They will just wait for this Infernal Drake, make sure they have 4. They'll still have enough time to try and make a push with this Baron.
But they will. It's a little bit of time just ticking off the clock of the Baron buff. Of course, you want to be as effective as you can with it. Getting the Infernal is great. I expect them to then look towards breaking one of these inhibitor towers. The resets will come through. We'll see Kings are currently at 3 items, going for the Runans, and then the Hex Drinker here on the Tristana. Not too often that we see Runans, but it definitely makes sense when you want to get that AoE damage down in team fights.
Yeah, maybe going for, I don't know, a little bit more wave clear. He already has the Hex Drinker for the defense. There's potentially multiple melees he'd want to be shredding. Usually the rubric I use for if Hurricane is worth it is if they have 3 melees, you would pick Hurricane. I don't necessarily consider Echo a melee, so this is a time where maybe I would say go with the Phantom Dancer or the Static Ship, but really all the Zeal items are decent choices.
Definitely is. And you've got Sterak's and Trinity Force complete on Fudge. Powerful combination on the Gangplank. Not going towards the full damage Gangplank that we sometimes see with the Phantom Dancer second item, but continuing just to scale up. 3 items on triple as well. Mammoth trying to shut the door in the face of the Unicorns of Love here. 1.5 left on the Baron, but still we haven't really seen them up the tempo yet. This has been a slow Baron. 2,500 gold gained off it.
Yeah, I don't expect these teams to be like perfect with their Baron buffs, especially kind of knowing what's at stake, having 4 games to decide whether or not their season was successful. They are probably just going to clear the outer turrets, and I'd be a little surprised if they're able to actually pull off an interior turret, unless we saw Skarner get a pick onto Corki or Renekton in terms of importance. Then they'd be able to push for a dive.
Still only 2 QSSs on the side of Unicorns. They've got 1 on Inax, 1 on a Nanasik. Neither Boss nor Nomans has decided that they want to pay the Skarner tax. The mid lane tower will fall, and as you say, doesn't look like Mammoth are going to go any further with this push, willing to wait it out. There's an Ocean Dragon in 3 minutes' time. Basically, 3 Ocean Dragons gives you about a Warmog's worth of healing, so wouldn't be surprised if Mammoth just want to delay the game a tad, wait for that. But right now, Destiny may be looking for a flank position. Nomans on the front line has the package, but a special delivery of Destiny might be coming in here. Package doesn't get him away. Nomans doesn't click his W, and Mammoth happily accept the kill. And Nanasik's going to jump back in, but he is immediately done for. Edward yanked back into the team, yanked off the Summoner's Rift. It's a double for King. It's too easy for Mammoth. They're pushing in for the win.
Yeah, we said Nomads, well, as long as he doesn't get caught by the Skarner ultimate, they're going to be able to wait out this Baron, but he does, and it looks like Mammoth is going to start this group stage 1-0.
Boss trying to do what he can. Triple splashed in. Inax locked up, and he's going to use the signal already. Triples down, and now Boss falling down very quickly as well. He gets the double kill. It's on King. He now needs to put the damage in, but Unicorns of Love have been able to defend.
They might hold.
Boss going to heal up. It looks like they might hold, but King is on the Nexus Towers. That Tristana has a huge amount of damage. He's on the second now. Boss and Inax going to step forward, and Mammoth cannot close it out. They went too deep. They went too greedy, and they can't close the game right now.
It ain't over till the Nexus falls. Boss comes in with the clutch double kill to keep them in this game, and you always wonder how nerves will factor in after those things happen. So far, Mammoth has always answered the call, but that felt like it should have been over.
It definitely did. Mammoth were knocking on the door, triple flashing in at the end here. I'm sure we'll see it again, but here, this is just Nomad not pressing W.
Yeah, he would need to press W now, because once that hook lands, it is a CC lock for the duration, and he did not have the reaction time of that hook from Fog. And then an Echo that's behind is just a sad dude, because even if he can ult back, it's just into the other team anyway, and he dies. So here, with the 3 kills, you think, all right, it's for sure done. And honestly, I was ready for the Nexus moment at this point. Let's watch again how Boss's Renekton is able to pull this off, because you don't expect him to be able to get a double kill. I think Inax got a lot of damage down well, and his triple who actually flashes forward going for the execute, misses it in turret range. None of that had to happen. If they just sat back, grouped properly, and sieged the turrets, when Renekton comes in, they all could have turned and focused. But when you flash forward for that type of play, you're exposing yourself, and I think that's a misplay by Triple.
Yeah, all it takes is a scatter the weak as he tries to slice and dice towards you, and then he can't get on your team. King opens up. It's pretty easy. Destiny's there to CC lock him as well. Edward has snuck into this top lane bush as with 40 seconds left on the Baron. Unicorns of Love are trying to see how they get back into this game. It's still a mountain for them to climb. They are 6,000 gold behind, 4 dragons to 0. Fudge has got his Essence Reaver now, and Edward's still in the flank position. Do you wait here for 30 seconds? Do you wait here until the fight begins?
Yeah, he's going to wait here for a while.
I mean, cows are
I don't know what
pasture, so that's maybe he's cosplaying.
I don't know what he's going to wait for. He's going to be going for a flank here as UOL is going into River, and it's...
Oh, it's a flank on Babbitt.
Yeah.
Is that who you want to knock into your team? Apparently it is. Babbitt gets knocked in. Boss on the front line. Babbitt down to half HP already, and perhaps the flank was next level. 4D chess being played here by Edward. Everyone else is playing TFT, and Edward is just in next week with how intelligent that play was. I'm very surprised it worked as well, but you got to give him credit where credit's due.
Absolutely. I mean, that's the type of stuff you're trying to pull out when you're down 4 Drakes and 6k gold. Fudge is also now pretty deep in enemy territory and has got to make a retreat. UOL is going to be on the hunt. Mammoth has got to make sure this game doesn't get out of hand.
You said it during the mid game when we saw that really messy fight around mid. You were like, this tends to be how OPL games go. They look really good, really composed for a while, and then they get super messy. That was super messy. Part of that is Unicorns of Love making it as messy as they can with Edward getting their flank position off, but then why is Fudge behind enemy lines? Why are they playing like this? Just set it up once again. You've got mid in here. You can push for the Ocean Drake if you want it. Make sure the Elder Drake is a win condition. Then go towards the Baron. You can be in a very good position here as Mammoth.
Yeah, I think Fudge's gangplank has looked generally strong. King is hitting close to full item 80 carries, and they do have the Drakes and gold lead. So Mammoth would have no reason to panic. However, there have been 2 very key moments where it is clear they have gone for the big play. Actually, 3 big moments where they've gone for the big play and failed. Fudge's first blood, King's rocket jump flash in mid lane, and Triple's flash at the Nexus turret. So there are definite nerves coming in for Mammoth in what could have been a much more decisive victory had they not gone for those overreaches. So they need to be very careful throughout the rest of this game to make sure they close it, because losing is one thing, but losing in a fashion where you over-regress on what would end up being 4 occasions if they make another one and end up losing the game could potentially just tilt them for the rest of the group stage. So I think Mammoth is in a good position, but you always have to wonder who's going to win this game.
30 seconds left on the mid inhibitor for Unicorns of Love. They now can step forward. They don't have to worry too much about those super minions pushing in. And Anasik clearing out vision. Control wards in the inventory of Mammoth once again. Want to see them use that vision setup like they did before. The Unicorns already caused 1 upset today, although this at the start of the game wouldn't have been counted as an upset. Right now, for them to win, this is an upset in my opinion.
Yeah, Unicorns could be a part of 2 upsets in the same day. We would see, though, because Unicorns is hanging in there, and the vision control we saw earlier had been absent, but now with some mid priority, they're starting to get it back. Still 3 control wards in slot and 3 disabled wards inside the Baron pit. Mammoth going to be looking for that next pick, but there's more QSSs being picked up by UOL, so that Skarner is getting lower and lower relevance as this game continues.
Yeah, No Man's has one now. We saw him get caught out in the mid lane previously. He doesn't want that to happen again. Mammoth have pushing in the bottom lane. Top wave is pushing towards them. Unicorns of Love just continuing to delay the game. Almost completed items on Inax. Sitting at 4 right now. 4 on the Corki as well, or 3.5. Now Mammoth have started up the Baron. Boss is down towards the bottom side. Unicorns of Love. Do they fight it?
King hit a ward, so that revealed him temporarily, and UOL know they're on this Baron.
Here we go, Baron being started. Mammoth just turned straight onto Boss. It was a bait. They wanted the bait. Mammoth, that was beautiful. And Boss has to slice and dice his way away. Edward in the middle of all the Mammoth now as they try and take the fight. But look at the damage onto Anasik. He's done. That's 3. Mammoth with an absolutely beautiful beautiful play around vision. You were confused, I was confused, but Mammoth knew exactly what they were doing. They aced Unicorns of Love, and they will not make a fourth mistake today. They are looking for that Nexus.
Surely they kill the Nexus this time.
Yes.
I'm willing to say they're going to kill the Nexus this time, Medic. What a way to end it. Hitting the ward and then immediately pulling off to catch the flank TP from Boss. Sets them off on the right foot for this team fight, and they will win their first game of the play-in stage.
5 years in the making. Mammoth take down Unicorns of Love. Their first win, and what a group we have now in Group A. That is a spicy, spicy one to say.